You're listening to the Really Very Crunchy podcast with your hosts, Emily
and Jason.
Guess what, Jason?
What?
In case you didn't know this, there used to be 13 months.
Yes.
It's something you just learned. I don't know that I ever really knew that, which I feel kind of dumb admitting, but I think it because it's the phases of the moon, and I know that the phases of the moon last 28 days, so I did know that.
Yeah.
But it wasn't necessarily like 13 months. It was 13 phases of the moon in a year.
Okay. So, what I really learned is from our video on Monday is that there are a lot of people out there who don't know the rhyme very well. 30 days hath September, April, June, and November. All the rest are 31. And then it falls apart. Several
people
for
had
a lot
options.
Of people. Yes. I have a couple of options here. 1,000 Hours Outside had a pretty good one.
Okay.
After February's done, the months have 31. Oh, the other months have 30. I butchered it. After February's done, the other months have 31. It's pretty good. My favorite, though, was out of Australia.
Yeah, that was cute. I saw that one.
I have to read the whole thing.
Okay. 30
days has September, April, June, and November. All the rest have 31. But wait a minute. We're not done. February goes time to... Sorry, I mess up.
Butcher.
February goes time to time from 28 to 29.
Slant rhyme. Time and 9 don't technically rhyme, but yes.
I mean, you got to do what you got to do.
I thought it was really cute.
Yeah. Okay, so what that did to me, though, what this episode did to me was it kind of sent me into a little bit of a rabbit hole.
Okay.
Just a little bit. Somebody mentioned a guy named Dave Gorman. Think about the months. September, October, November, December. Okay, you've heard oct, right? What is oct?
8.
Usually, octagon, octopus, deck, December, deck, decade, 10. Anyway, September, October, November, December, all of those.
Sept, 7.
Yeah, those are
8.
And November is like from the word novem or something, and which means 9. And originally, those were 7, 8, and 9, and 10. Those were those
Oh, really?
months. Yes. So I did a little bit of a deep dive, and he's right about the whole 28 days thing in a month. We should have 13
I told you that.
months.
I just said that.
I know, but I haven't seen it in this way.
You haven't been part of my homeschool whenever we're talking about the phases of the moon.
No, I haven't. Well, forgive me. Anyway, all you have to do every year is have one day of intermission, because 28 days times 13 is 364. One day, one intermission day between the end of the year.
So every year's a leap year.
No. On a leap year, you have 2 intermission days. So...
Intermission days?
That's what he called it. That's what Dave... We'll call these intermission days. It's a really funny bit. You should see it. It's really funny, informative, and
it
makes
could
me
be
think,
like a holiday where we celebrate rest.
Yeah, and every first day of the month is on a Sunday. Every second day is a Monday. That kind of thing.
That's convenient.
I know. We should just change it.
It's not going to happen. Like, people who really want to change the whole leap time, fall back, spring forward, time change, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
It's not, like, I just feel like it's not going to happen.
If we can't get together and change daylight savings.
Yeah, daylight savings. Why couldn't I think of that?
If we cannot change that, there's no way we're changing the calendar for the entire world.
Right.
Although if America just did it, surely a lot of people would fall in line.
We just did miles and pounds.
Well, nobody fell in line for that.
I know.
There's a few
so
people.
It's like we're just like...
no, we're doing the metric system.
Yep.
You crazy Americans. Well, we're doing 13 months. It'd just be Texas. Texas will just do 13 months. They're like, we're Texas. We could do 13 months.
If Texas does 13 months, I will move there.
I like Texas. I guess it's a little warm for me.
It's a little hot, yeah. I mean, but I think you get used to it. Just like the cold, people get used to the cold up north.
Yeah.
Except I love wool clothing. Can we take a moment and just appreciate this beautiful new wool skirt that I have? It's vintage.
New vintage.
New vintage, new to me. Like, it would be so sad to not really have the chance to wear wool. You don't care. You don't feel me.
I do.
You don't
I
really
feel
wear
bad.
wool.
You came, if you're watching the video, you came dressed very nicely to the podcast, and I'm wearing a Murray State Racers sweater that your mom just gave me from a thrift store.
I like it.
Pretty
Looks
proud
good
of
on
it.
you. It's cozy.
Yeah.
Is it cotton? Did you even check?
I checked the back tag on my neck, and it didn't have the information.
Got to go to the side tag.
I didn't. Well, it does
You
have.
gave up?
It has.
You gave up before you checked the side tag?
Well, to make you feel better, it has detergent smell.
Oh.
So it's scented right now. I smell like wildflowers made in a lab.
I'm surprised I can't smell it. Usually.
It's faint.
Oh, okay.
It's faint, but good.
Usually I can smell laundry detergent on clothing.
It's not.
Like,
yeah.
even
This has
from-
been sitting there for a while. Nobody wanted this. How's your memory? Short term or long term?
Some things I remember very vividly. Some things. And when we're in an argument, I always remember everything.
Yeah, of course.
And I'll never forget when you flicked me in the forehead.
Are you serious? Are you serious? Your memory of that? Oh, wow, that's good because
Vivid.
that is a core memory for you.
Mm-hmm.
Really? Wow.
You created that core memory.
And for those of you who are coming back to this, it is flicked
Not
with an F,
flicked.
not licked. I did not wake her up by licking her on the forehead.
That would have been so much better. I probably wouldn't remember it.
You probably would have. Because this, the conversation we originally had, you would have been saying, "You licked me on the forehead. What are you thinking?"
Flicked. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah, sometimes I really remember things, and I do remember specific details about things. And I especially remember times that I've been embarrassed, or I remember negative things a lot better than positive things.
I think that's probably pretty normal.
Really?
Yeah. A lot of the memories, not general memories like, oh, did you have a happy childhood? I'm like, yeah, whatever. Like, but very, very, very specific memories from a long time ago tend to be very negative ones.
But see, I think that's not always true, because I remember when we lived in Korea, we were counting down the days till we could leave. But when I looked back on it, it's all really positive.
Yeah.
Mostly. I mean, I do remember some. So, like, I think, and parents grow up and they're like, well, my kids never acted like that. It's like, well,
true.
you don't remember. I'm sure there were moments. Surely.
You think we'll get there?
I'll never forget. I'll never forget Alder. I will never forget Alder. I mean, when we first got married, do you remember we had to have a little talk? It was like, Jason, I am not your little sister. You like.
Where are you going with this?
You kind of like teased me and you got like in this groove of being really silly and jokey.
I don't remember
but in an older sibling kind of way. And now that we have Alder, it's like, oh, it's you 2.0.
Okay. There are major life events that I have that stick out like it was yesterday. And I have a few. Meeting you.
Oh.
That whole process. It's very vivid in my memory. The birth of my children, both of them.
Have we told people that we met running for a door that was about to lock?
Go ahead.
I feel like people would like that. I mean, there's the story. We were both running for a door that was going to lock, and if it closed, it would lock, and you'd have to go all the way around to the front of the building.
Mm-hmm.
So we were like coming from the parking lot.
Tell them
saw
what
it,
you were holding, Emily.
V8 Fusion juice. I think we've already done this. Anyway, then you were like, is that for your car? And I was like, ah. And then the elevator doors opened and you went in the left and I went in the right. And I was really sad. But then I stalked you.
But
it all worked out.
We were connected in that moment. It's all vivid to me. But see, I remember it was obviously an impactful moment for me too. You always kind of tell it that it was impactful for you, and I was just there and hanging out, whatever, with my friends. But like, I remember you vividly in that moment. I remember telling the joke. I remember thinking about you.
And then when you walked in and you saw the empty seat next to me, you like immediately came up
a few days
sat with
later.
me. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
you were thinking about me.
I was thinking about you. Of course, the birth of my children. I remember those vividly. Yes, the death of my parents will never leave me. Kindergarten teacher throwing away my paper watch that we made in class. We'll never forget it. I was probably 4 or 5, I think. Also, me with my pants down in front of the class in the bathroom. The whole class can see in the bathroom, waiting to be spanked by the same kindergarten teacher. I don't think it was the same day. I think it was another day.
Jason, when
I remember it vividly.
When you search your soul, can you see
that the teachers had no ability to deal with all kinds of children? Yeah, I see it. I see their incompetence.
Another teacher kicked you out of Vacation Bible School, and another teacher wanted to kick you out of Spanish class.
Who kicks the pastor's kid out of Vacation Bible School?
I don't know.
Incompetent people, that's who.
It must have been quite horrid to get to the point where they're like,
incompetent.
I'm not dealing with this child anymore. I can't. I'm done.
Incompetence.
They were driven to the edge.
They shouldn't have been there if they couldn't handle the J.
Have you not been driven to the edge?
No.
Did you not break one of our children's hammers?
He was hitting me in the head with it, and I went to the store and bought him another one. It wasn't just a hammer, by the way. That sounds crazy. It was don't break the ice hammer.
The little plastic
tiny hammer.
Was it not your mini-me? Was it not exactly?
I broke his hammer out of frustration because he was hitting me in the head after I told him not to.
Was he hitting you in the head, or did he come up and tap your forehead?
He flicked me in the forehead. Whatever. I immediately got up, went to the store, and bought a brand new game and said, I'm sorry, that was mean of me. I shouldn't have done that.
I know.
That teacher did not give my watch back.
I remember you looking at me.
Everybody in the class saw my butt. Everyone.
I remember you looking at me after that, and you're like, this is the watch. This is the watch situation.
I can't let it become the watch situation. Yeah. Now he doesn't. Actually, he did bring it up today.
He did today?
Yes. I had to take something away because they were hitting each other with it or something. I don't even know what it was. And Alder turns around and looks at me and says, are you gonna break it like you did the hammer? I'm like, I bought you a new set. You had extra hammers. When I by the end of the day, you had extra hammers. And of course, he's not remembering that. He just remembers the impact of the breaking of the hammer. You're gonna break it like you did the other. Like, I'm like,
it's just so funny to me because our 2 children are incredibly different. We were watching a video of our older child. We were just kind of like looking back the day before his birthday at him growing up. And there was this video of him, and I didn't remember it at all. But he was asking me to draw something, and I didn't do it right. And he started to have a little fit. And I was like, well, how do you ask, buddy? Take a deep breath and use a calm and strong voice. And you see this little 2-year-old. Will you please draw a smiley face with a medium nose? And like, he was just so sweet. And then he started crying about something else. And then he like evaluated his emotions and retried. And then at the end, he was like, I'm sorry, I was crying about the smiley face, and gave me a big hug. And it was like, wow, this was a perfect parenting interaction. That would never happen with Alder. Like, never. If I was ever like, okay, try to take a deep breath and use a calm and strong voice, it would be like, he goes into this like Louis Armstrong gravelly voice. I don't know. It's just so funny how kids are different.
Do you? But you stand by. You will never forget that about him. You won't become one of those parents like, I don't remember if he screamed at us day after day for 17 years.
He doesn't. He tries to get you. Like, he will find your weak spot and poke it.
How else are you going to win?
And
how else are you supposed to win? You find the weak spot and you poke. You keep poking. You poke until you win. Until the other gives up.
I will never forget that. No, I will never forget that. But, I mean, I'll also never forget how he would always say, Mama, can I whisper something in your ear?
That's so sweet.
And then you bend down and he just like
any
randomly.
Random thing, yeah.
A lot of times it's, I love you.
Oh.
Just so sweet.
We'll
be
never
like
get that.
On a hike. Mama, can I whisper something in your ear? I love you.
Oh.
So cute.
I mean, that little bit of connection.
Yeah, he's so sweet.
Oh, yeah.
He is so sweet.
He's one of the sweetest kids I've ever met.
Yeah.
And he's also crazy.
Yeah.
There are some things like that with the bending down and let me whisper something in your ear. Like right now, I don't think I'll ever forget that.
Mm-hmm.
But like when he's 10 and hasn't done it in 5 years, I'm afraid I'm going to forget that. I mean, it's obviously one of those things I feel like we need to write down.
Mm-hmm.
But those are the type of things that I'm afraid I'm going to forget. Just because how many more things is he going to do eventually that's just so sweet? Or
I know. And I've already forgotten some things. Like Oaks was basically born speaking very clearly.
Mm-hmm.
And Alder has had a lot of really cute speech things.
Mm-hmm.
Like instead of oatmeal, he said ootmeal for the longest time. And then he still says fawidjawada.
Yeah.
For refrigerator, and it's just so darn cute.
Yeah.
And I totally know I'm going to forget those things.
I fear forgetting things because I know how much I've already forgotten, particularly about our kids. Because looking at that video, there was just the way Oaks looked at you or smiled at you or the way he said certain things. I haven't thought about in years. Mm-hmm. And we looked back at that video and it was like, wow, I forgot all about that. That's so sweet, you know? It's just so interesting to me that our brains can hold so much, yet recall so little.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a fact about that. There's a rough calculation made by Paul Reber, I guess, professor of psychology at Northwestern University. He said the brain can store roughly 2.5 petabytes, which I'm guessing is bigger than a terabyte because my knowledge of stored memory only goes up to terabytes. So,
okay.
Of memory.
Yeah, but how much of our memory is wasted on useless facts? Like that's the smell of a rose.
Yeah, but that's not even a megabyte, though.
I know, but there's so much of that.
Okay. See,
this is what spaghetti tastes like. Oh, that color is white.
That kind of fact to me is kind of funny because you could say it could store 2.5 petabytes of material of memories, but it's like, I don't know. It's like you try to pull up a picture on your computer and it's all blurry and you can't really see it that well. Or a video and you can't hear it so good.
Because of what?
Because your memory recall isn't perfect.
Oh, yeah.
It's not like you're just storing that and can recall it.
Sometimes I can. It is so weird being like someone that other people expect something of, or I don't want to say look up to, but I guess some people are like a fan of mine or, have read my stuff and like my videos. Anyway, I can sometimes really remember people's names, and it seems weird that I've met them once at a book signing, and then I see them out and about in town, and I'm like, oh, hey, Fern. Like, why can I remember that person's name?
That's very interesting. I'm the opposite, or maybe not opposite. I just have less of that skill. I'm really good at remembering faces. Some people are face blind and they don't remember faces at all. I'm really good at remembering faces. I most of the time cannot put a name to that face. If I've met once, twice, even 3 times sometimes, if we haven't had an extensive interaction, couldn't tell you their name. Face, though, I do know, I recognize that person. Something in my brain captures that person's face. I'm like, I've seen that person somewhere.
Yeah.
Have no idea where. But you've got the name thing down, which is handy. You should be a politician. Maybe
it's because I wrote their name.
Oh.
Maybe it had something to do with the book signing. Like if you write someone's name while you're looking at them.
Well, that's true.
I don't know. Maybe.
To Fern. Stay crunchy. That makes sense. You only remember the people you've done signings for. If you come to one of my book signings, I'll remember your name.
No, it's so weird though. There's this girl. I actually can't remember her name.
Uh-oh.
But I met her at the park 5 years ago.
What if she's a listener?
See her.
If you're out there.
No. Her husband mines clay in Boaz, Kentucky. Do we say Boaz or Bose?
I think we say Bose out here.
Okay. Her husband mines clay there. Bose. Yeah, Bose. And I just thought that was so interesting when she said that 5 years ago. And I see her around town and I've actually re-met her. And I'm like, oh, yeah, you're the one whose husband mines the clay. And then I totally forget her name. I can remember nothing else about her, but it is stuck in my memory that her husband mines clay. We actually...
What if her husband's name is Clay?
I don't think it is.
According to whatever article that was that I pulled up that I don't know the source to, that's 300 years of television.
What?
Stored in your brain. I don't think it's in 4K. I think we're talking low resolution. Because everything's just
300 years of television.
Everything I look at in my memory. I don't know if this is because I'm not in other people's bodies. I don't know what people's minds are like. But when I look back in memories, to me, it's it's hazy. It's almost like
foggy.
It's like those movies where it's they go back to a flashback and it's got this white cloudy filter on it. That's actually what my memories are like.
Mm-hmm.
And
mine too, but think about all the little things that you do remember. Right now you remember that you had chili for dinner and you had chicken soup for lunch. That's taking up
That's short-term
space.
memory though.
That's not part of the Petra storage, whatever?
I don't know, because just below that next part was research suggests that we can remember 4-ish it's more between 4 to 8 things in our short-term memory at a given time.
See, I think my short-term memory is better than that.
Mine's not.
But
mine's awful.
Really?
Yeah. I shouldn't be telling you this because you're going to use this against me in arguments.
No, I already knew this because I'm also a details-oriented person. I see all these details. When I walk in a room,
you are Miss Sherlock in there.
I see everything. I'm like, okay, she's wearing a red shirt. He's wearing a blue shirt. There's a window there, and that window has curtains, and there's the light switches, and she has.
You know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking
this is a nice room.
No, the concept from that novel I was reading was such a wonderful concept. I really think that's a good idea. I wonder if I could ever write something in that fashion, but not try to steal it from somebody. But I don't know. Whatever. It's just I'm elsewhere. That's my problem. That is my problem with memory.
Mm-hmm.
My mind, I'm preoccupied most. If anytime you see me, I'm not always in the moment. And that's not a good thing. I'm just thinking about things.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever it is.
I know, I've pointed
camera
out
stuff. Thinking about...
I've pointed out stuff to you and you're like, huh?
Like what? Give me an example.
The tree in our front yard, the leaves are changing colors. We have a tree in our front yard?
That's not true.
It feels like that sometimes.
We have 20 trees in our front yard. Are you talking about the maple?
I am.
The maple tree in our front yard?
I'm just saying it's stuff like that.
That was a bad example. Your memory is not recalling an example that would be pertinent to this conversation.
It's because the boys are in bed. It's the end of the day.
You've yawned 27 times already. It's kind of hard to talk to somebody who's just constantly. It's wow, am I that boring? Thought this was fun for you, Emily. What are your feelings on the need and want to film everything or photograph everything from for your kids. I used to be like, man, put the phone down, live in the moment, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But now I'm more like, wow, I'm really glad I took a video of this or something. But I think there's a balance.
I think there's a balance. Like, take a few pictures, take a little video, and then put it away.
I think there's plenty of people who do the opposite. Like, they're just recording everything. And there's no way they could even watch or see all the things that they record.
I don't know. There's this girl who
recorded we were at like a concert or something.
No, the Monster Truck Wars.
That was one too.
We went to the Monster Truck Wars and people were recording the entire thing. Like, why do you need to have the Monster Truck Wars on your phone?
Crunchy
Are you
Mom
gonna
went
go
to
back
to the Monster Truck
it was
Wars
for my children?
She was wearing jeans and a hoodie.
I was. I needed to fit in. That was
what
not
is the
my
name
place.
of the girl you met? We took a picture with. She listens to the podcast. What's her name, Emily?
She didn't tell us. She just walked up and said, "I'm a huge fan of the podcast."
What's your name? I want to put her to the test.
She had blonde hair.
She's wearing a hoodie.
Was it a pink hoodie?
I don't remember. I'm just kidding.
I think it was.
I think everybody was wearing it. I wasn't. It was actually really hot, stifling hot. In there.
I was burning. I don't know why I wore a hoodie.
Have any of you ever been to a monster truck show? It's
not as impressive as you would think.
I thought it was going to be a little bit more than that.
Monster Truck Wars, it said.
I thought we would see like some explosions and,
no, but I thought like,
stuff.
A monster truck driving on another monster truck. They mostly just like spun out in the mud and then went over these little mounds. I
mean, I bet it feels big when you're in there.
Yeah, but they did the same course. So it was like, and now it's time for Shark Attack. And then like the Shark Attack
T-Rex.
They like come out and do the exact same thing and spin in the mud. And
no, he had a slightly different spin in the mud. It was a slightly different angle.
I mean, our kids were eating it up, though.
I loved it. Yeah, it was cool.
It's like watching your toys come to life.
Oh, wow. I didn't think about that. Too bad I'm 37. Didn't do much for me.
Mm-hmm.
Did much for them. Do you think they'll remember it?
Maybe, because it was Oaks' birthday.
You were 40 minutes late.
Yeah.
We thought it started at 7. It actually started at 6. By the time we realized it was half over, and that was perfect timing.
Perfect timing. What really cracked me up was the adults that were there with only a newborn baby.
Yeah.
I saw so many.
They did have ear protection on.
Yeah.
That was good.
Yeah, that's good. Pretty much all the kids had ear protection on.
I was happy to see that.
But just like they couldn't not go to the Monster Truck Wars. Even though they have a newborn baby, they're not missing Monster Truck Wars.
Yeah. Well, some of those trucks had their own toy version of themselves. Did you see that?
I did.
At the booth?
Mm-mm.
Yeah. T-Rex.
Oh, that would have been cool.
Yeah.
Bet they're not lead testing those.
I do find that we film things and take pictures of things a lot less since we started really very crunchy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's probably because our job is to make video content, and I don't always want our kids to see us holding a camera.
Mm.
Okay,
but so there's this girl who came to Oaks' birthday, and she took so many pictures and videos, and she said she just loves to document stuff.
Yeah.
And I so appreciate that because I didn't take any. And
I took some.
I really, really am glad that she did that. And it seems like she also enjoys herself and like she's in the moment.
Yeah.
I see her like looking at the moment instead of at her phone while she's taking the pictures. So maybe there's something there.
It's a lot of pictures of feet.
Yeah, maybe like to enjoy the moment, you like passively film. Hope you get it. And then you're still in the moment, though, instead of viewing the moment through the screen.
Yeah.
What were you going to say, though, about a concert?
The people, there's always one. in a crowd. It doesn't matter what you're going to see, whether it's a kid's concert, an adult one, whatever, monster truck show. There's always somebody in front of you filming it.
The entire thing.
And you look at the time code at the top of their video, if you're a little, you care about doing that, and it's like 45 minutes.
How do they even have storage on their phone?
They offload when they get home, I guess.
Wow.
It's like,
are you ever going to go back and watch that?
Yeah. See,
I'm more like get a 30-second clip, and that's good.
Yeah. Those always interest me, and it's always a boomer. Sorry. Just saying.
No.
Getting the 30-minute clips of any event whatsoever.
I know a millennial who does it.
That article goes on to say at some point, being able to access memories quickly, like having the internet or pictures on your phone, stuff like that, actually makes it harder for you to retain memory, long-term memory.
Because you don't have to remember it.
Exactly, because your brain knows you don't have to remember it.
Yeah.
Because it's being done, it's automated in a way.
I can totally see that.
You're your subconscious like, oh, good, I don't have to take this on.
I think sometimes we block things out intentionally. Like our older son's infancy was very difficult for me. I barely remember it.
Is that why sometimes parents are like, oh, he was a great baby? Like they block out a lot of the negatives?
I blocked out everything, even though there were many positives. It was just like a hard time for me. So I only remember one thing. And it, like from the early days, I do remember, like I know the general feeling of it being so difficult.
The blurry pictures in your mind too, yeah.
But I specifically remember sitting in a dark room, rocking him, trying to get him to go to sleep. This was like very early on, and thinking, I don't need to be the mom of this child. Someone else should be the mom because I can't do it. I'm not doing a good job. He deserves better than me. It shouldn't be me. And I remember sitting there and just like crying and crying. It's probably a little bit of postpartum depression.
And then I come in and flick you on the forehead. I'm sure that didn't make it any better.
I know.
Man.
Can you see where I'm coming from?
No wonder. What a jerk. Man. It's probably the same moment. I'm not a good mom. Hey, babe, wake up. Wake up. I deserve this 15 years of, you flicked me on the forehead. I deserve it.
He's only 7 years old, so 7 years.
Oh, well, I was thinking we've been married for whatever. Yeah, I'm sure I flicked you before that. I don't know. Sorry. Anyway, wow. That's tough. That's one of your few memories of that time.
I think that it's really interesting, though, whenever you do have a picture, then you can almost construct these memories around it. Like, I'm pretty sure there are pictures of me in my childhood that I don't actually remember the moment.
Yeah.
But because there's a picture of it, I think I remember the moment. But really, I just remember the picture.
Yeah.
And I can kind of build the story around it.
Well, there's this thing. And I'm not sure, I didn't quite read it in depth, but memory is tricky that way. So apparently every time you recall a memory, you're recreating the scene, and it eventually becomes like a memory of a memory of a memory of a memory. And on top of that, there's this study done where I don't know the details, but researchers were able to convince people that they had committed a crime, and were actually told them and gave them details of themselves committing a certain crime. Nothing heinous.
No, yeah, I believe that. I believe that because I feel like I've told myself lies before, and then I started to believe them.
I don't think I've ever I just don't feel like I could get there. Like, I haven't committed that crime. I think I could, I don't know.
You've never had a memory that was kind of hazy, so you filled in the gaps, and then you started to remember that's what it was. that's what it actually was.
I would say most of those would be subconscious and not just fully conscious. Nobody's consciously making up memories. That happens subconsciously, right? How would you, you feel like you remember having made up memories?
Sort of. Like if I've told
It's called being a liar, Emily.
I'm not lying to anyone but myself. Just like, did that happen or was that something I thought that?
Like what?
This is not one of them. I can't think of one, but I'm thinking something like, for my 8th birthday, I got the most beautiful cake and it was topped with a Barbie. And then, like they used to make these cakes.
Sounds like your wedding cake.
It was a Barbie, and then like the cake was the bottom of her skirt.
Oh, wow.
So like I feel like I could think to myself, yeah, I got that on my 8th birthday. I did, didn't I? I got that. I'm pretty sure I got a Barbie cake. And then like eventually could convince myself I had a Barbie cake on my birthday.
Wow. You could never convince me that I got a Talkboy tape recorder, that's for sure. I know I didn't.
Mm-hmm. I'm
nobody telling me
I am
didn't.
unsure if I ever had a Barbie cake. Now that I'm just like throwing that out there and I'm like, did I have a Barbie cake? I think I did have a Barbie cake.
I don't think my memory works that way. I think I know what I want. Especially when like that would be something you really wanted, right?
Yeah.
And so like if I really wanted something, I feel like, and I could be wrong, I'm not a psychologist or whatever, but if I really wanted something, I think I would remember if I got it or not.
See, if I really want something, I can fill it in.
Construct it as though you got it.
I got it. There. I'm not disappointed.
I have this phony happiness. Everything in my life is a lie. I do love my husband. I'm pretty sure.
I know I loved him, or I wouldn't have married him. I did. And love is a choice. It's something you choose daily.
Wow.
I do love you.
I know. You wouldn't be doing this if you didn't. I know. I'm going to read some facts about memory. It's from a website I found. Top result on Google.
I told you to stop getting your facts from Google, Jason.
Yeah, this is like, what are some interesting facts about memory?
Don't you know
Top
that
one result
by now?
Not sponsored. I didn't click the sponsored one.
Anybody can write anything and put it on the internet. So these facts are possibly not factual.
Well, you got to get a .org, right? This is a...
You can get a
.org. If it's
.org,
it's fine. The earth is round. All right.
What?
NASA. Is NASA? Oh, that's a .gov. You can't really trust .govs. Never mind. Sorry.
That's from NASA.gov?
What?
What you're reading?
No.
Oh.
It's like something, I think it's like a college thing. I don't know. Almost forgetting something is more likely to make you remember it. That's not a very great fact.
I had a horrible dream that I had a test. This was last night. I didn't sleep well because I was so worried about this science test.
I've had those.
Really?
Yeah. Well, about missing classes.
I didn't study.
Yeah.
And it was coming up and there's nothing I could do about it. And that like when I woke up, I'd have to rush to class. Yeah. Oh, about missing classes.
Did you ever have night classes?
No.
Oh.
Yes. And a few night classes I really had to drop out of because I totally forgot about them. Like
that was my nightmare.
A whole month would go by and I'd be like, oh, I have class on Tuesday.
You like this actually happened to you?
This actually happened to me.
See, I have a nightmare about that happening to me because
that really happened.
You went a whole month without going to your night classes?
Yeah. It one class.
Was it art appreciation?
No. I never missed art appreciation.
I failed it the first time and had to retake it so I could graduate. I'm smart.
It was a
181.
No, it was a class for education. And I always forgot it. Always. I just ended up dropping the class and changing my major.
You changed your whole major to because you
wow.
Well,
No, but I also had nightmares that I would miss classes. Oh, and in my nightmare last night, the thing was they let me walk across the stage without ever finishing my class. But to actually have my diploma, I had to take this test. And it's like 15 years later,
This
and
feels
I
very
didn't
real
study
for
for
some reason.
the test. So then I was like, wait, don't I have my diploma?
Oh.
Yeah, it was an awful night.
There was a long time where we were convinced that we weren't actually married because we had convinced ourselves that we never had our marriage
certificate turned in.
Turned in, yeah.
Your dad signed it.
Uh-huh.
And then we moved away, and we thought we just stuck it in a tote.
No, we just gave it to him, and he turned it in.
Yeah, but normal. We thought.
But yeah.
We just had it, and anyway.
Yeah.
We are married.
We are, yeah. Common law. Memories start forming in the womb as early as 4 months in the pregnancy.
Wow. Yeah, like you can sort of influence your baby's taste buds. I've heard. That is not something I made up.
Really?
Yes, you should look it up. If you eat a wide range of foods, then supposedly you can make your baby have a wider palate.
In fact, scientists now believe that prenatal memory is crucial in the development of attachment for an infant to its mother.
Aww. Sweet. Like the sound of their voice.
Mm-hmm. There is no single place where a given memory lives in the brain. It's scattered across different regions. This one sounds like the made-up Google kind. But
that does sound made up, but I kind of believe it because when you're like
might as
recalling a memory, can't you feel it coming from all the different ways?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, you feel it.
Uh-huh.
It's scattered in there.
That feels like a left side of...
That's from my prefrontal cortex.
Yeah, well, I don't know. We're getting into territory we're not sure about. Well, there is memory facts, there. That's the memory stuff that like keeps you from doing dumb stuff. Mm-hmm. You know, like because you
executive
remember.
Functioning, right?
Yeah, that's like, oh, I shouldn't touch the hot stove, or I shouldn't cut my fingers when.
Mine doesn't
vegetables.
Always work. Like earlier when. Mine's broken.
Your prefrontal cortex broke a long time ago.
The chili is bubbling. I mean, bubbling. And I get a big spoonful and just stick it in my mouth like I've never burned my tongue before.
Did you burn your tongue?
Yes.
You still feel it right
miserable.
now? Oh, man.
Yeah.
That's annoying. Emotional intensity prioritizes how memories are stored. The brain processes a huge amount of data every day, so clearly it needs some kind of triage system for determining what is important, yada, yada, yada.
So do you think that dreams that you have are just your brain making sense of the memories that you made that day? Like I had this dream that there were snakes in the playhouse, but it was after... these kids found lizards.
There's money in the banana stand.
So is my brain just trying to like make sense of
that's probably
things
from
that have happened?
Yes, that's probably from me just being
terrified of
snakes and constantly screaming out, "Look for a snake!" every time the boys go out and do something.
And like then my brain is just trying to make sense of it, so it influences my dreams.
Look at snakes. Well. 2 of our kids have almost stepped on copperheads since living in this house.
2 of our kids?
Yes. Oaks, when we were on the walk, it was like 5 feet in front of him, and I ran up and moved him out of the way. And then Alder was going to the garage, and there was a copperhead right there. And I got there first, thankfully.
I don't know how you can just spot snakes. Like I am
constantly looking for them. You go into a room and you see a shirt that somebody's wearing. I'm like that with snakes. That's it. There's nothing else in the world that I'm like that with. But if I'm outside, I'm going to see a snake.
It's so funny because I am always looking for like fruit and mushrooms and
stepping on a snake while you're at it. You need people like me to keep the fruit people alive. Well, Anyway, I wonder how long it's going to take us to forget this podcast episode.
I've already forgotten most of them.
What do you mean?
I do not remember what we've talked about, what we haven't talked about.
Sounds like you don't really care that much, Emily.
It sounds like we recorded after the kids go to bed, so I'm tired. That's what it sounds like.
You're not even conscious right now.
My memories only exist if it happened pre 2 o'clock in a day.
Interesting.
Post 2 o'clock, I'm losing it. I'm slipping.
Yeah. You were talking about dreams a minute ago. It is weird to me that I remember dreams when I was like a little kid.
I do remember a couple dreams too, but they were terrifying. Dreams.
Terrifying. I had this one dream, man, Zelda 1 on the Nintendo. There's these little skeletons.
Okay, but when you just said Nintendo, your ears moved like an elf. Is Zelda an elf?
Link in Zelda, I think they have pointy ears.
Your ears just looked like that. That was funny.
Do
it again. Say Zelda.
Zelda.
When you say it, your ears move. Did you do that? Oh, okay.
Zelda. I can move my ears.
I can't. Okay, what happened?
Well,
this
anyway,
is your terrifying dream, really?
Yeah, the little skeletons. Sometimes they had a little key inside of them. They would go horizontally on the screen.
I never played it.
Well, anyway, I just remember I was sleeping in the hallway in our house.
You were sleeping in the hallway?
Yeah. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. I've had a lot of weird rooms in my childhood. And I went in my parents' room. I'm pretty sure they told me to go away. And I got back to bed and I was okay after that, but it was terrifying.
You were sleeping in the hallway?
Yeah.
That's where I got stuck.
In the hallway?
Uh-huh.
Oh.
Your room was in the hallway?
I don't know.
Like a Harry Potter closet?
I shared a room with my brother, so in that place. No, it was in the middle of the hallway. But not my room. That was just where I was sleeping.
Okay.
That night. I do remember this. One time when I was a kid, my parents left me home by myself and I got so terrified that I just cried and bawled and hid under my bed and fell asleep. I was too young to be left alone at night, apparently.
I was left by myself several times where scary things happen. I remember so clearly. We had a window at the top of our door. So you could look in.
Oh, yeah.
That's not good. So I was by myself. And somebody came up. Bang, 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 bang. And I got like up against the door because...
How old were you?
I didn't want them looking in. I don't know, probably 10 or...
That's a tough time.
I know.
Your imagination's running wild.
Yeah. So then I heard a card like sliding in the door.
Oh, gosh.
And it felt like they were trying to break in, but I was right there, but I didn't want to take off running because I didn't want them to like see me run and know that I was in there.
It's not like you had a cell phone. You couldn't just run to the phone.
I know. Well, anyway, they ended up leaving, and then I opened it up, and the card was to visit a church, and I'm sure like somebody, my dad
he was trying to break in with a church visitation card. Man,
that's why you're like, never fill out the card, Emily.
Never fill out the card. They're just gonna try to break in with it. It's like, oh yeah, look at that penmanship. I'm going to their house.
Nowadays it would be, we're trying to reach you about your car's extended warranty.
That's some outreach right there.
Though. Like, I was so scared.
We see you in there, kid. You want to come to church? We've got prayer meeting on Wednesdays.
I vividly remember my brother chasing me with knives when we were left home alone.
Huh. Watch your sister. Okay. Have fun.
He probably wasn't trying to do anything. He was probably just trying to scare me.
Yeah.
That's not how accidents happen at all.
I'm thankful that I wasn't ever scared that way.
I vividly remember.
Two vividlies.
Yes. This guy I had a mega crush on growing up. We were neighbors.
You with knives?
No.
Oh.
He drew like a really mean picture of me up on the board in the classroom, making fun of me, making fun of how I looked. And I walked in and everybody was laughing. Like, it was even labeled Emily. And he was my friend, so it hurt so much worse.
Who is it? I want to have words.
Michael. I
Does
saw
he
him.
remember?
Probably not. But I remember. I'll never forget.
See, that's the thing. He doesn't have to remember.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't have to live with that memory. I'll take him. I don't care if it's been 20 years.
I saw him at Kroger.
Was he cordial?
Yeah. He was like, "Hey, is that your kid?" And I was like, "Nope, that's just some random child following me around." And he didn't laugh. And I thought it was funny. And
I knew she was weird.
It was like, "Okay, bye. Good to see you." Like, why was that my...
Oaks is like, "Mama, am I not your kid?" Oh.
No, that's just some random kid who follows me around.
No, that's Jason's child. Well, good for you. Sticking into Michael. Michael, if you're out there, I'm going to draw a picture of you.
Making fun of the way he looks.
Making fun of the way you look, Michael. I'm going to draw it on a board for all your friends to see.
None of them were my friends.
Well.
He was the only friend I had.
Well,
makes it so much worse.
I'm going to show his. Oh, yeah, that is way worse. He was the only friend you had. This story just got so sad.
Well, then I cried every day asking my mom to transfer me to public school, and she finally did.
Well, things got better.
Things got so much better.
Yeah, well.
Nobody drew a picture of me making fun of how I looked.
Wow. Well, if there's anything we can glean from this, I think it's try to remember things.
I think it's like if you're intentionable. I'm so tired.
Intentionable now, yes.
I think it's important for us to take in the moment.
Yeah.
And recognize that this moment's never going to happen again. So if it is something like important, absorb it and try to remember it. Like, try to recall it. And, I think maybe that's why even our parents were better about telling stories. I'm like, my parents have all these stories they tell all the time. And it's like, why don't I remember that? Oh, because I was watching TV all the time. Not just sitting there recalling stories.
Yeah.
That was something people did for fun whenever there wasn't just constant entertainment.
Yeah.
They relied on stories. And so I'm sure like that helps keep the memory alive.
Yeah.
So maybe this winter we should really work on recalling stories and telling stories about our memories. Even not long past memories, for our kids. Remember that time when you were 4 and Speaking of, I have a note with funny things.
Oh,
my kids have said, and you said you were going to ask me.
I did want you to do that. I forgot. My short-term memory can only hold like 4 things. It could hold 4 to 8 things, Mine only holds 4. That is one thing to if you're not necessarily taking a picture or recording a video, if your kids say something funny or if they do something sweet or something funny, write it down. Put it in a notes app later. Write it down in a journal, whatever, because you will forget some of those things. You're not just going to be able to recall that, but writing it down will then spark the memory.
This is kind of a funny memory.
Okay.
I have a list of all the boy names that we loved before Alder was born.
Before Alder,
that's
second
funny.
time. Okay, let's hear them.
Strider, Rowan, Finn, Forrest, Arlo, Conrad, Robin, Leland, Alder, Asher.
And we'll let you guess what his real first name is from that list. It's on there. And it's not Alder.
It's just funny that that's in my notes.
Yeah. That's cool.
I
do like the name Strider.
I love the name Strider.
Took that one off the list.
The boys were riding in the car, pretending to talk on the phone. Alder said, "We're going to the safari park on May 6th. And Oak said, "Is your family going?" They're pretending to talk on the phone to each other. And he said, "Yeah, but my mother-in-law is working at Community Kitchen." And Oak said, "Oh." And Alder said, and my father's in jail because he stealed a gun. And Oak said, that's nothing. My mom's in jail because she stole money. And Alder said, will she come back? And Oak said, yeah, she'll be back in 16 months.
16 months.
And this was
That's
when
about right.
they were, now I have to do math, 3 and 5.
Wow.
Just funny.
That's
Where did
hilarious.
they get those things?
Yeah.
Here's another one. Oaks was praying for a sister. He prayed multiple times and said, I think it'll take a few days. And he said, just call God and have him send one. And then he decided his sister's name would be, do you remember?
No.
You don't remember what he named her?
Oh, what was it? I don't.
He talked about it all the time. Vijanta.
Vijanta.
He talked about Vijanta forever. That's so funny. Like, I would not have thought to recall that.
Are we allowed to say Vijanta on the podcast?
That was the name. He had it picked out.
Huh. Yeah. If we have a girl, we at least have to make her middle name Vijanta.
Maybe Virginia. Like, I can meet in
He
the
won't
middle
remember.
there.
He'll just, yeah, it was Virginia, right? He'd be like, no.
See, that's a position where I could convince myself that I remember it. Like, if my parents were like, no, it was Virginia. You said Virginia. When I know in my heart I said Vijanta. It could be like, maybe I did say Virginia.
Knowing Oaks, one day we'll tell him, he'll be like, I don't know, 8 years old, and we'll tell him, hey, just so you know, you're having a little sister. Vijanta. Her name will be Vijanta. I remember. That's what he would be like.
Yeah. Some people can remember everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
We actually suspected at one point that he had a photographic memory.
I know.
I don't anymore.
I don't anymore.
But man, he was like recalling things that I
was like, what? How do you remember that?
This will be awesome. So useful.
But do you think it's because his life was so much shorter? Like, there wasn't that much to remember.
And very talkative at the same time?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, he's a very bright child, but brighter than most. Brighter than all the other kids.
Brighter than your kid,
Both
for sure.
of my kids are brighter than all of your kids. I draw pictures of your kids on the board and make fun of them.
I love that everybody thinks their kid is the smartest, most creative, sweetest
ours
child.
Actually are.
Like, I hear other parents talk about it, and it, like, they'll say something, and I'm like, meh, should have heard what my kid did.
Wow.
But then if I said it, they would be like, meh.
You should have heard what Vijanta said. It was so clever.
It's part of being a parent.
Yeah.
It's sweet.
Just proud of them.
Mm-hmm.
And ours are better. But anyway, thank you for listening to the Really Very Crunchy podcast.
It's not a competition, and you don't have to remember this.
If you don't remember this episode by the end of the week, you should re-listen to it.
Okay, but definitely do remember that in November, I'm going to be speaking at the Cultivate Homestead Retreat. So be sure you check it out if you want to hang out.
The link is in the show notes.
There's so many cool workshops. I saw there's going to be like traditional bow hunting and basket weaving and
traditional bow hunting.
Yes, I'm so excited. Except I think that one may have been at the same time as another one that I was interested in. So.
And you are the keynote speaker.
Yes, so
at this event,
I'll be there the entire time, and then I'll be speaking on Saturday evening. So looking forward to it. And what else? What else is coming up? That's it for now.
Yeah, well, the Wellness Collective,
the Wellness Collective
live stream tickets are still available.
Yeah.
And I have the link for that also in the description.
Cool.
And be sure to visit our sponsors who are also in the description. There's a lot of stuff in the description. You should just really things. Look at all the links and click on each one.
Remember it.
Yes. I mean, that's not hard. It's right there. It's right down there.
Okay. Thanks so much.
Scroll down just a little bit. It's right there.
Thanks again.
Leave a comment too.
Thank you.
Just leave a comment. This is for me. If you want to if you made it to the end of this episode and you can remember to, leave a comment.
Remember to.
If you just anything will do. But can I ask you something really quick? We have gotten so many wonderful ratings and reviews on this podcast on both Spotify, Apple, other places that I don't know where this is actually going. You guys have given us wonderful reviews. If you haven't reviewed yet, I think scroll up a little bit and then do that. That would be wonderful. We would love to see more reviews come in because I think it pushes it out to more people and stuff. That would be amazing. Thank you so much for listening. Can't wait to talk to you next time.
Bye.